Well, this has been my entertainment for most of May. This little bird box used to be in the hawthorn tree just above my skate ramp, and I moved it at the beginning of the season because I was worried that the noise from the skate ramp might put them off again this year. So I moved it over to this elder, and to be honest, I thought it was a little bit low and I never got around to actually fixing it into the tree. But yeah, they don't seem to mind at all, and they're back nesting, and it's so cute watching them just ferry their little caterpillars in and out of the nest box. And I actually put my camera on like a little holder just above the branch so I could see inside, and I could see all the little like bird mouths just bobbing up and down waiting for their food, and it was so cute. I really want to get a camera nest box so I can properly see what's going on in there. It'd be really lovely seeing them actually make their nests and seeing what the chicks get up to when the parents aren't in, and yeah, I think it'd be really cute. Seeing a pair of bullfinch feeding up in that tree. I don't know whether they're collecting buds or insects, but they are beautiful. Got bright red chest, the boy, and then the female is a little bit more muted, like a brownie colour. But yeah, they're absolutely stunning birds, and I'd absolutely love it if they could nest in here. I actually don't know where bullfinch nest, so I might do a bit of research and see if I can encourage them into my plot a little bit more. So aside from the great tits and the bullfinch and the robins, I've also seen a pair of nesting blackbirds over in the ivy by my cherry tree, and also some magpies as well. So it is all going off in here at the moment. It is busy all round, it seems. So May has been a really stunning month on the plot, and one of the highlights for me were the spring flowers. This is just outside my door, and my little peony that was proudly on display has been a little bit crushed by an open car door, but that was looking beautiful a few days ago. And we just come in, and the sun is just about to set, so hopefully we can get a good look around before the light goes dark. So as we come through, the first patch is the wild garlic, which has all gone over now. Hang on, let me put you on wide angle. All of the wild garlic now has gone back, and it's kind of been replaced by these crane's bill, which are just as lovely, edible too. But what I'm really excited for actually are all of these little tiny balls here, and these are the little seed capsules of the wild garlic, and these are absolutely delicious. They taste really strongly of garlic, and if you like garlic buds, then you'll love these. These can be pickled just the same. They make a really, really delicious relish, kind of like pickled capers. They are lovely. So I'm looking forward to harvesting my huge patch of that and making a few jars, because I was a little bit slack on the pickled wild garlic buds. I did make quite a few jars, but not as many as I would have liked. So it's okay, because I've got the seed heads now, and they are just as delicious. Just a few weeks ago, this looked insane. It was absolutely full of flowers. So in my last tour, it was full of buds, and then a few weeks ago, the flowers all opened up, and it smelled insane. It was so lovely. But yeah, I've got lots of tulips just at the back there in pots all along the side of the greenhouse. And again, a few weeks ago, these looked incredible. All of the different colours and textures were just so lovely. And I got to spend a really lovely few sunset evenings inside the greenhouse, just looking out through the broken windows at all of the beautiful tulips. And yeah, it was really lovely. But these all need a good deadheading now. But yeah, let's carry on walking through. All of the elder is all leafed back up now. I gave this a really big prune. So this elder actually, hang on, let me zoom out again. So all of this elder was as high as that piece there, and it went all the way along, and it met up with basically this little field maple here and formed a really huge hedge that didn't let any light into this wild garlic. And to be honest, that's probably why the wild garlic flourished like it did. But yeah, I had to cut that back just so I could let a bit more light into this second plot here. But yeah, it's all starting to leaf back up now. I'm not sure how many flowers I'm going to get off of this hedge, because like I say, I did give it a really hard prune, and I can't see any flower buds on this. But I've also got a huge tree at the back there that's full of elder, and one behind my skate ramp as well, so I'm not going to be short on that. So let's see if we can get over to the pond, see if there's anything going on in here. I've not actually looked over here in so long. Probably good month or so. I've not checked it out at all. You can see the duckweed is taking a strong hold, and the little lily pads are back in town. Last year I did have a few newts in here, so I don't know whether they're back. I have faith that they are, but I just kind of leave them to it. There's loads of little hidey spots in here, loads of bits of what they called broken pots and things like that, so they've got a bit of shelter, frogs and stuff. But yeah, it's looking all right down there. So let's actually come back. Whoa. Let's come back and go through my first plot. Big pile of wood chip there. Doesn't look big from here, but it's a hefty size wood chip that I'm just going to put into compost boxes, actually what they call compost bins. I'll let that rot down for a couple of years and use that as compost in a couple of years' time. So yeah, as we come through to my first plot, my mum's bed is looking gorgeous. I'm so happy with it. So this will be coming up to its 5th year, but this is its 4th summer. And yeah, it is beautiful. Look at these lupins, stunning. All of the aquilegia, all of the alliums, the oxeye daisy, the foxgloves, the forget-me-nots and the nigella. Yeah, it's looking absolutely beautiful. I'm really happy with it. Look at this bee loving the allium here. There's been so many bees on the plot, it's been awesome to see them all back. Got lots more alliums all about to pop open here as well. So as I've mentioned before, this is a blue theme, so it's their favourite colour, but most of the flowers are actually purple because it's quite hard to find too many blue flowers. I have got quite a few, but they don't all flower at the same time, so I intersperse them with lots of dark pinks and purples as well. This beautiful shrub, it's called a weigler or a vigla, I don't know how you pronounce it, but the flowers are just starting to die off a little bit now. But last week this was incredible. It was absolutely covered in pink flowers, and it was just a pretty sight at the front of the shed there. So inside my shed, there's not too much going on here, but we'll take a little peek anyway. Huge bit of eucalyptus from a job that I helped my arborist friend with. He cut down a big eucalyptus and I was chief chipper for the day. So yeah, that's just for drying and stuff. And in here I've got my bagged squash at the moment. They're just keeping a little bit warm because the night temperatures are still a little bit low here. They can dip to about 5 up here in Chef. They're just keeping a little bit warmer in here just until I need to evict them when I plant up my tomatoes, which shouldn't be too long now. They are big enough to go in, it's just when I have a little bit of time to get all of that sorted. But yeah, they're just keeping safe in here for now. I've got a couple of big pots of dahlias, again just keeping a little bit warmer. These have been pinched out a number of times now and are looking pretty good. Then down here I've got some cabbages, I think they are, and loads of cabbages and kale in pots all along here as well, waiting to go out. Again, just as soon as I find a little bit of time, all of the beds are ready for those now. So yeah, it won't be too long. What is exciting in here though is that the grapevine has sprung back to life. And every year I think it's going to die because it really doesn't start coming back until early May. But each year I forget, so come March and it's not started budding yet, I'm like, oh no. But yeah, it's alright. It has still got lots of scale though. Can you see all these scale bugs? When I pruned it, I did manage to cut off quite a few because they seem to like the slightly newer wood. They don't really seem to go on the trunk too much. But yeah, I do need to do something about this because I don't want it to weaken the plant too much. But yeah, it's about probably 25 years old, I'd say, this grapevine. I don't actually know, that's a total guess. But the guy who was here before me said that it was, yeah, probably about that old. So I'm taking his word for it. If you're wondering, you can't really see, but the grapevine goes down into the floor, probably out the back of the greenhouse, and it's trained all the way up along here, all the way along the roof, and it creeps outside as well, as you can see. So I'll carry on outside, and this big pot of tulips is all dying back now. There's a few rogue lilies in there, or iris rather. But yeah, this was beautiful, absolutely stunning, this big old tub of tulips. But I've got my lilac that's just finished flowering here, and an acer, a couple of rhododendrons that are just starting to, well, some of the buds are finished, and just spied actually a few that are about to pop open. These are all just in pots in front of the greenhouse though. Got a nice little frame shelf that I need to find a spot for. Big patch of lemon balm, and just along the side of my greenhouse is kind of my junk area. I just got loads of crap in there. Those two sinks are pretty useful though. I've been meaning to make like a little wash up area with those two sinks, but yeah, it's just a project that I haven't quite got around to yet. I've got a little patch of rogue raspberries down there, my worm bin, some rogue potatoes in that bed as well. And if you saw my video last week, you'll know that I planted out loads and loads of shallots and a few lettuce as well, and some chamomile. But yeah, they're all doing nicely in this bed. I'm not going to uncover them and show you because yeah, leaf miner's ripe, and I've actually got a couple of holes in there, so I do normally pop that netting over it as well. I've got a bed ready here as well for all of my brassicas. So this is a super long bed that goes all the way up to the back of my plot, and I have got a few cabbages down here as well that I'll be ready to harvest at the end of the season. But I'm going to be putting in loads of cabbages ready for winter as well. So they're all going to be going along here with some kale as well. This bed is really, really long, goes all the way up to the back of the plot, pretty much up to my kitchen area. And yeah, I've got a bathtub here as well that's got nothing in it at the moment other than creeping buttercup and nettles, so that needs sorting. But I might put some flowers in here and just create a bit more of a screening in between mine and the plot next door, because I did have a couple of little hedges along here that have been cut down, and also that apple tree as well has been cut down that created quite a bit of cover. So I need to plant something up to fill up these gaps now. Yeah, I've got a lovely rose in that little climber there, and some wallflowers and foxgloves just along here. So it's all looking very nice. These two long beds, these are looking all right. The strawberries are very slow because these ones in this bed are all runners, and I actually only planted these up maybe about, I don't know, I'd say just under a month ago now probably, so they're actually quite slow. But I've got plenty of strawberries dotted all about my plot, so if I don't get too many big berries from these ones, it's okay. Considering I gave a really, really thorough weed to this bed, there's quite a few weeds still in here. So I'm going to really need to keep on top of that, because this bed does get overrun pretty quickly. I need to keep making sure that I'm adding lots of organic matter to this and mulching it really well, and just yeah, keeping on top of it really, because the weeds love compacted soil. So if I can do anything to reduce the heaviness of this soil, then that would be a good thing for the weeds. But yeah, in this bed here, let me zoom out again, got some rogue lemon balm, some rogue forget-me-nots, but it's mostly my garlic and my potatoes as well. So I've got a huge bed of garlic. So with these potatoes now, I just need to hill them up with a bit more compost, and yeah, should get a great yield from this bed. My parsnips. I've let these go to seed actually. I've sown some more, and yeah, I just actually love the flowers. I just think they look gorgeous, and the pollinators love them. So I'm just going to let these guys grow do their thing, go to seed, and then I'll collect the seed ready for some fresh parsnips next year. Look how big they are. They're as tall as me. I'm only 5'1", but I'd still say that was pretty big for parsnips. I almost forgot to show you these beautiful iris at the front of my strawberry bed. How gorgeous are these? The colours on these yellow ones, look. And the blue, so pretty. Lovely bit of colour. But yeah, next to my parsnips then is my first pond. And it is almost disappeared amongst all of these flowers here. But that's not a bad thing. That'll create a great bit of cover for the wildlife. But yeah, it's looking beautiful. Loads of teasel, loads and loads of red campion. As always, we've got plenty of hogweed, some beautiful knapweed that again the bees go crazy for. This is such a lovely, lovely plant for the pollinators. This has had a little bit of a weed actually, where you can see here there's piles of dried weeds. But yeah, my boyfriend came down and actually helped me for a couple of hours do some weeding, which was nice. He usually just skates the ramp, but yeah, I roped him into doing a bit of weeding, and he got stuck into the pond, I think because he likes to check out the frogs and stuff. But yeah, it was a great help. Still lots of hogweed that I kind of need to remove because I want to let some light into that for some of the other flowers that are hidden under there. But yeah, it's looking lovely down there. Great little haven for the animals. So we come to this bed behind, and it has got a couple of wildflowers in here and a couple of stray broad beans as well that I didn't have room for in my other beds. Some overwintered celery that's just about to flower. The leaves are still delicious on that. I just had a nibble and they're still good. They're not too bitter yet. I've got a couple of courgette here that looks like I was about to plant out and I forgot about. Some poppies and forget-me-nots, and these cages here that are actually for my tomatoes. So I think this bed is going to have my tomatoes in it this year because it's quite sunny, and because Fred did cut down that apple tree, I've got quite a lot more light into this little section here. So this is where my tomatoes are going to go this year. They were in this bed last year. This bed currently is overrun with poppies, which I'm not complaining about, love poppies, but this is probably going to have some squash in it, so they can kind of run rampant amongst the poppies. That's not a problem. But yeah, so much red campion. This little one here with the notched petals is red campion, and it's lovely, lovely wildflower. So this is a great plant to grow to distract the insects from attacking the other crops. They seem to like this one and are attracted to it. Same with cow parsley as well, I find. So this leads up to my herb spiral, which is kind of unrecognisable with all the herbs in it, which is great. It's got a little pond down here which is doing well. Does need a little bit of a clean out, but I saw some frogs swimming about in here, so it must be a nice little home for them. They're not complaining. But yeah, I've got so many herbs in here. Lemon balm's going rampant, as is the mint, as is the sorrel. Look at all of this sorrel, this is gorgeous. Such a nice lemony, citrusy flavour, and the flowers are delicious as well. The chives are all starting to come into flower. Going to be making a vinegar with these, standard. And the lovage as well. Lovage is kind of a taste that some people love, some people hate. I find it really interesting just because you can't really find anything like it in the shops. But yeah, this is lovage. It's a beautiful plant. The lavender is all starting to come back. My rosemary as well. All my little different types of thyme and oregano are all starting to come back now as well. Yeah, lots and lots of lemon balm, lots and lots of mint. Some stray foxgloves that I should probably move, but I probably won't. My fennel, this is gorgeous. Look at all of these lovely, lovely feathery fronds. These have got a lovely aniseed, kind of licorice flavour. And they're really nice adding to like your chutneys and your pickles and stuff as well. Got some wormwood behind here. Loads of wormwood actually, loads of it. There is some mugwort as well, but I think the wormwood's actually taken over this year. See if we can find it. No, oh, some oregano down here though. And some sage at the back there as well. Lots and lots of different herbs down in this little bit, some ground elder. I've got a little archway here that's going to have clematis flowering up it soon. It's a clematis that runs up it, and on this side as well. Got some echinops and some teasel behind here, some more lemon balm. That stuff is everywhere. And loads and loads and loads of strawberries behind here. Loads of nettles as well. They can stay there, don't mind a bit of nettles. These ones though, I actually might try and reduce a little bit, just because there's a few quite nice plants under there that aren't really seeing the light of day at the moment. The rhubarb's getting a little bit shaded as well, so I will remove a few of those nettles from this little patch here. But yeah, this is my plum tree guild. I've got a couple of plum trees here. I don't actually know what this one is, but the little one just behind it is a Victoria plum tree. But they're both delicious. The Victoria plums are a little bit sweeter, but these are darker purple in colour. They're really, really nice. I had a huge harvest off of these last year, so I'm expecting a slightly smaller harvest this year. But yeah, really, really lovely little arch with this bit. Got a couple of cherries here. These were all full of blossom last month, and I can see lots of little cherries already starting to form, which is nice. In the cherry tree guild, we've got some rhubarb chard, some more strawberries, some jack by the hedge, and some rosemary as well, and some garlic. And then I've got loads of raspberries that have actually all started popping up outside of their little bed here. So I might pull up some of these little runners and plant them elsewhere. But yeah, lots and lots of raspberries in here. These are all my autumn fruit and raspberries. I think I've got some golden raspberries in here. The goji berry shrub this year has gone wild. It's grown all the way through the trees. I'm not sure whether I should prune it or just kind of let it run rampant, but it's really, really lovely. And it's not flowered yet. I think these flower a little bit later, but I've never had any berries off of this yet. I'm hoping for a good harvest in the next year or two though. It's a fairly young tree that I planted not too long ago. Just spotted some more little flowers on this cherry tree down here. Past my raspberries, we've got my green gage in the background there. I don't know if you could see it through the shrubbery, but this is my pear tree. And I've actually only ever harvested 1 or 2 pears off of this tree. It does get loads of little tiny pears on it, but the June drop usually takes them all away. It doesn't even leave me with very many at all afterwards. So I'm not sure what's going on there. And then underneath my plum tree is a lovely little bed that leads down to my stumpery area. And this is kind of a little unkept wildlife area that's got a couple of little fruit shrubs in it, some bramble that kind of runs through it, and just lots and lots of logs and bits of decaying wood. Lots of mushrooms pop up in here, which is really, really nice. And yeah, it's an awesome little spot for the wildlife to hide in. And all of the alliums have started to come up. Look how gorgeous they are. The pear tree guild is mostly full of flowers, really. Got lots and lots of wild garlic. That actually, these leaves, because they've been quite well hidden down here, are all still pretty good. I actually might harvest these leaves because they've been hidden down here. They're actually all still quite young and fresh, and it might be my last chance to get some fresh garlic leaves of the season. So yeah, I might do that. Some cleavers, so many cleavers, so many cleavers. So in this little bed I've got some peonies, loads of forget-me-nots. This had a ton of daffodils and tulips in it that have obviously all gone over now. But I'm not sure if these peonies are going to flower because again I haven't planted them too long ago, they're still fairly young. But all of the St Bernard's lily, look at it, this is gorgeous. These grow on rhizomes, so they just end up spreading, which is really, really lovely. Get a lovely display of these in the spring, and they're awesome for pollinators as well. Bees love them. But yeah, I think they're gorgeous. I've got some regular lilies about to pop up. That's hard to say, regular lilies. And yeah, that brings me around to my skate ramp. This has had a makeover. Don't know if you remember what it looked like in the last video, but it was all brown and now it's been painted green. It was green last year, but it wears off after a little while, especially being outside and uncovered, and especially being underneath my hawthorn tree as well. But yeah, this had a fresh lick of paint and it's looking very nice now. But this is what the garden's looking like at the moment. The first plot anyway. But there is more to see in here still. So we've got lots and lots of strawberries just in front of the ramp. So it's always been my dream in life to be able to pick strawberries and skateboard at the same time. And now I can. So that's cool. Loads of strawberries. These are doing much better than the runners because these have been planted for a couple of years now. But yeah, this bed here is absolutely full of foxgloves and lots of perennials as well. Some echinops in here, lots of hollyhock. Got some lupins as well. So these lupins are gorgeous. Look at them. Oh, the sun's just come out, that's lovely. Oh, just next to the lupins, I've got a few currants, a few pink currants, a couple of red currants. They're all doing really well. The carnations are all in bloom. These are looking beautiful. These are delicious as well. They've got kind of like a clovey type flavour to them. And then the aquilegia. These are gorgeous. Lots of different types of aquilegia down here. These are dwarf varieties. And yeah, they're just stunning. Look at these kind of open cups with the sharp petals around the edges. They're really, really lovely. More teasel in the background, all self-seeded teasel, but very welcome. And some comfrey as well, that actually I'm going to reduce because it's kind of impeding this little tiny cherry tree a little bit. But yeah, I might wait for that to flower before I do because it's not doing any harm at the minute. And then that leads us back round to the long, long brassica bed and the back of the herb spiral. So yeah, that is what the plot's looking like at the minute. And then just through here we've got a couple of beds as well down here that need planting up. There's just a big metal tub here and then a bathtub there that needs filling. Probably going to be carrots, although I'm not sure because I have actually had root fly, so maybe I'll avoid carrots in this bed for this season, grow some lettuces or something. And the bed behind it, this has got my garlic in it, and this was doing really well until skateboarding season happened. Because my boards and everything just fly off the edge and land there and kind of get a little bit crushed. So the ones at the back aren't doing great, but the ones at the front are looking all right. Big old celery that's overwintered that's just starting to flower. Be harvesting some of that for leaves. Yeah, so some of them are a little bit crushed down there, but hopefully they'll all spring back to life. My plan for this bed actually, and it has been my plan for a while, I just haven't gotten around to it yet, is to plant up rosemary and lavender bushes in the back here, at least along the back strip anyway, because then any flying skateboards will kind of just land in the hedge and it won't damage it too much. And anyway, when we do pull the skateboards out, it'll smell really nice, so it'd be quite a therapeutic kind of plant to grow at the back here. So I think that's the plan. It's just I've been a little bit put off because I know it's going to take a couple of years for them to grow, and it's just one of those things I haven't gotten around to yet. But yeah, I need to start it because then in a couple of years it will be finished and I'll be very grateful that I did it. So this is a tub that's just got some raspberries and underplanted with some strawberries in it. And this is my huge honeysuckle that's all about to flower, I think. It's got lots and lots of buds all over it. Yeah, that is trained all the way up and around my little kitchen area. One little kind of snippet has taken over this whole entire fence, and I'm hoping to carry on training it down here to block out this entire little bit. But yeah, it's really fast growing actually. But yeah, this is the little shelter area and it's quite nice, isn't it? My little pizza oven, another little pizza oven, and then I've got my little stack of plates and stuff. Then under here I've got all of my cooking bits, my saucepans, my little gas stove, a little box that's safe from rats and squirrels. And this is a little plaque, I guess you'd call it, There's actually a little laser engraving of a poem that was up in my mum's kitchen, little handwritten poem, and I just love it. So yeah, I got this engraved into a little forever kind of piece that I can just have up, and it does keep me smiling. Yeah, as I said, the skate ramp's had a big paint, and oh my god, I haven't said, look, there's a fence. There's a fence. Oh, I'm so happy. I mean, it's not the straightest fence and it's not the most glamorous of fences, but it does its job, gives me privacy. It just feels a lot nicer in here now. I mean, that used to be full of thistles, absolutely full, and the goldfinches loved it, which is why I've left all of these thistles back here for them, for the seed heads later on in the year. But yeah, it's a nice little enclosed space again now, and I really love it. My little hammock and broken wheelbarrow. And this is the bird's nest here, just in my elder tree. And it's really lovely watching them flutter in and out, and you can hear them as well. They're really, really loud actually. But this little pathway here behind my skate ramp leads down to another little pond. And this is sort of like a little weedy wildflower area. I did used to have some steps here, but I've actually got all of this wood here now, and I can't get to the steps. So, gosh, I can't believe how many weeds there are. I mean, I always expect loads and loads of weeds in May, but I mean, gosh, this year has been crazy. Maybe because it was just so cold for ages, everything just sprung to life really quickly, and I think it just took me a little bit by surprise. But yeah, I've been pulling out cleavers left, right and centre. But luckily they're edible, so I'm not complaining about those ones too much. They're pretty easy to get out, but I just like to get them out sooner rather than later, before all the berries start to form on the currants, because when I'm pulling them out, sometimes they can dislodge the fruit and stuff, so it kind of gets a little bit annoying. But yeah, just try and keep on top of it as I go around. But this is the back of the plot. It's very, very overgrown now. I can't even really show you much. There is a little stumpery area underneath this. There's some little frog houses. There's a pond down there. It's actually got a couple of holes in it, so you can see all the lining and stuff. The holes need fixing, and then I need to refill it. But yeah, that's a pretty good little area for them actually, all of the animals, because they'll love how overgrown this little section is. Let me zoom out to get a better picture of it all. So it's basically just a weed jungle back here, which is actually quite nice. I love a little bit of wild in the plot. It's mostly jack by the hedge actually, and cleavers and hogweed and nettles, and they're all edible flowers and edible weeds, so yeah, not complaining about those at all. Loads of wood avens. But yeah, it's looking great back here. So many currants in this little area. This is what leads round to my little mini orchard area back here. So this is a plum tree. I've got an apple tree up there, and I've got a couple of bay trees, and all of my newly planted trees are all coming to life now as well. But yeah, there's loads of cleavers. Like I say, I'm just pulling these out as I go around, and it just is easier to keep on top of it then. But then they get stuck to me. Look at all of these, honestly. I'm going to harvest some of these today actually, because I'm going to be pickling some of these seed heads. Make a really delicious kind of like spicy gherkin type thing. Yeah, really cool. Nice to put in your burgers and that. So I'm going to be harvesting quite a bit of that today. Might do a nice little herb harvest at the end actually, because I've got lots of herbs that need drying before they all start to go into flower. But yeah, this little section here is full of currants, absolutely full. I'm so happy with this little area actually, because this last year was just a bay bush, like the whole entire area. The bay came all the way down, so I just took the canopy all the way up, and it's just really, really opened up this little space here. And I grow lots of kind of like shaded plants down here now, loads and loads of foxgloves and forget-me-nots. And yeah, it's a lovely little space down here now that used to just literally be bay. And yeah, I've got enough bay. I don't need it to go all the way down to the floor as well. So my new trees that I got from Direct Plants last year and planted up a few months ago, these are all leafing out now. Really, really beautiful. Oh my gosh, I didn't even see these. There's actually some apples on here. I was supposed to pull off all of these flowers so they could put their roots down a little bit more. But it seems like I'd missed a few flowers because there's a couple of apples forming on this. I might actually leave those three, see what comes of it. It won't expend too much energy just on a few fruits. Yeah, this is a nice little area now. So when I've been doing my weeding as well, I've just been dropping it off in places that have got bare soil. So all of this down here is kind of just dried weeds and it's just protecting some of this bare soil. It's gooseberry heaven back here. Look at them all. I really hope to get some gooseberries because normally the pigeons have a field day back here. So I am actually going to put a little net around these and see if I can protect some, keep some for myself. But there's tons of gooseberries, so I don't mind sharing a few. So many plums as well. Lots and lots of plums forming. And loads of raspberry flowers, some little mini raspberries forming. So rhubarb down here, I've already harvested lots and lots of forced rhubarb, and this is having another little spout down here. I've got a few plants behind all of this fireweed. Hang on, let me zoom out here. So that's my ramp there. That's the pond at the back. This is all of my currants and my rhubarb and stuff I just showed you, and the fireweed. Look. There's so much of it, and it's so tall now. And look how well it shields my bath. Like, so if you were over here, you can't see it. You've got to come all the way up here to be able to see anything. So that's really, really cool. It's a nice little bit of shelter. It's proper hidden. I actually can't get through this way anymore, so I'm going to come back around and use the proper path. Yeah. This is my new bed, and I've finally filled it. So this is a brand new bed that is just kind of made up a little bit more of a path and a walkway through the allotment. It's kind of broken it up a little bit, made a separate little kind of room bit here for my bathroom. This is going to create way more shelter from this section of the plot. So when you're here, all of the tall plants are kind of going to be there, and then it's going to shield my bath just that little bit more. And then we've got my fire pit around here. That's just currently got lots and lots of lettuces on it. But yeah, my bathtub hasn't had a fire up yet this year, which is kind of sad because this time last year I'd had loads of baths and I'd camped down my plot loads of times by now, but I just haven't yet this year. And that is partly because I've got some new neighbours and they're in the plot just next door, and this plot has been empty for like 5 years or something. No one's been in there, but a really nice couple have taken it over now. But it's just meant that I am feeling a little bit more exposed, and especially because I literally put my bathtub here because it was so sheltered then. But now it's all been opened up a little bit and there's people there pretty much all the time. So that's why I've kind of lent this kind of little fence panel against it. But because there's not anything solid at the back, I haven't got anything proper to anchor it down into. So I'm a bit bewildered as how I'm going to fix that problem, because I really, really need some privacy here. Like, that's pretty paramount that I've got this sorted in the next month or so, because I'm really missing the outdoor baths this year. But yeah, I think I can get it sorted. There's just a little gap there really, but yeah, I need to try and figure something out to create a bit more privacy again back here. But yeah, it's crazy how many people have taken over allotments lately. I've had this one for, it'll be 6 years in June, and when I took it over, there was no one around me in any of the plots. They were all empty, and they were empty for years. But this year, they've all been taken up. So there's not one empty plot near me now, which is amazing, because yeah, it's just great that these spaces are actually getting used now. But yeah, it does mean that my privacy is a little bit more reduced. Hello. Little Robin's sat up there. I should probably go get the mealworms for him, but I really want to finish this little walk around before it does start to get too dark. And this plot is massive, so it takes me ages to walk around it all. Here, these two beds, the broad beans are proper shut up, haven't they? They're pretty tall now, and even the potatoes are all coming through now. I planted these so late, the potatoes, but yeah, I'm really stoked they're all starting to pop up now. I'm making sure that I keep on top of the watering, because as I said, it's been super dry here. I don't think it's rained in about 2 weeks. I don't think it's due rain for at least another week according to the apps. So yeah, I'm making sure I keep on top of the watering. And look at all of these tulips. These were absolutely stunning, and I think these ones were probably my favourite. They were a gorgeous pink and orange colour, but yeah, I'm just going to make sure I take off the seed heads just so they don't expend any energy forming seeds and put all that energy back into the bulb. So hopefully I can get a repeat bloom next year. It's not always certain that you'll get a repeat bloom with tulips, but there are certain varieties that are more reliable than others. This isn't one of them, so I'm going to try and give it its best shot by just removing all of the seed heads nice and early before they have any time to kind of settle in. So I've got a few beds here that are just full of garlic. These won't be too long till this little bed's ready. This one probably won't be ready until later in the season because they were planted super late. But these ones probably be ready early July, I'd say, and I can get this bed ready for something else. Again, this bed is empty and it's all ready for planting out. All of these plants need planting out. I'll go in there in just a second. But yeah, these are another bed of broad beans. These are all doing really, really well as well. These haven't got any companion plants in them. They have got rogue garlic in them though, which is definitely not a companion plant for beans, but they seem to be doing okay. So in my polytunnel, I've already done a bit of a polytunnel tour a couple of weeks ago, or maybe even last week, I can't really remember. Not too long ago anyway. Oh my god, there's full of aphids, get off. Oh my god, oh my god. That is full, that one. I'm just going to keep on top of this because they're in the polytunnel. Outside the birds will kind of do their thing. But sometimes actually, if your infestation's quite bad, as mine was last year with my lupins, sometimes it is just better to remove what you can and not just solely rely on nature, because I mean, as gardeners we are growing an unusual amount of plants in the same spot. Plants are generally a lot more diverse than what you'll find in a regular forest. You'll normally find lots of kind of similar native plants growing in the same spot. But in a garden, we have lots of different plants of different natures all growing in the same spot. So sometimes the predators can't keep up with all of the pests that do appear on all of these plants. So sometimes having to step in a little bit is a bit of a necessity. And I learnt that last year because I had a really bad infestation on my lupins. Like, it was crazy how many aphids were on my lupins. Like, it was you can't even see the stem. It was just full of aphids. Anyway, a few of them I just left nature to do its thing, but I did hose off a couple of the more of my favourite coloured ones just to make sure. And actually, with the heat last year and the aphid attack, the lupins that I didn't hose off didn't come back this year, and they did perish. So they did end up losing all of their energy. All of my tomatoes are definitely ready for a pot up. They're in pots that are way too small for them now. Although the roots haven't come through too bad, so actually they're probably fine. But they need to be potted on soon or planted out in their final spots really, really quite soon. So yeah, that is a job for next week, I think. Lots of flowers as well, so still need planting out in the back there. Loads of tomatoes down there. But yeah, I've already done a proper polytunnel tour, so if you haven't already seen that and you do wish to have a closer look at what's growing in here, then you can have a little tap at the top of the screen. Hopefully I can figure out how to link that at the top. But yeah, we're nearly done actually. Got a huge bed along here that's currently not got anything growing in it other than random weeds. Lots and lots of cow parsley. That actually, to be fair, looks beautiful. Very, very cottage garden feel. But in the back here, in this little spot, what's really funny, or it's not funny, it's just stupid of me, but yeah, I was saying that I kept all the stuff in the top 2 layers this time to keep them safe from mice, because they got eaten at the bottom. What did I go and do? I left the bloody lid open one night, didn't I? And then some squirrels came in and took all my sunflowers. So that was 100% my fault. Yeah, I've just learnt another lesson. Make sure I always shut the doors. and then they will actually be okay. Got some squash, some cucumber, some melons at the back there, a few more cucumber, a couple of little sunflowers that made it, some dwarf beans, some French climbing beans, and then down here I've got some more beans and some more melons and a few flowers as well. Walked away from that and I realised that I'm probably going to forget to shut that, so I'm just going to do it now before I forget. Safe. Right, so we're almost at the end now. Just a few more little bits. We're back down at the first part of the plot, and the pond's just down there. And then again, I've got another huge Vigla, whatever you call it. But again, this was absolutely full of pink flowers. It was huge, absolutely beautiful. Here, my spruce tree, all of the spruce tips. These are absolutely delicious. They've got a lovely citrusy kind of taste to them. Yeah, really delicious. So I actually think I might harvest some of these as well, make a little candied syrup with them. And all of this cow parsley has all flowered now, and it looks absolutely dreamy, really lovely. So it's getting pretty dark now, but we're almost at the end. Back round to the pond area and the wild garlic, and I'll just give you a quick little update of what's going on in this greenhouse in here. Not too much, just a lot more brassicas, some onions, got some beetroot and some chard down here, and some more cabbages and kale out here as well. So yeah, it's all looking very, very different to last year. Current temperature is 12 degrees. But yeah, I'm gonna get home now before it gets any darker, I think. But yeah, I'm gonna feed the birds now before I go home and have a little chill. Oh, there's one more little spot that we haven't checked out behind the Polytunnel. Not too much going on behind here, but my fruit trees are all leafing up. I've got a pear tree there, and I've got some bags ready for my potatoes and squash as well. Potato planting out is the next big job. Got a new bed here behind the Polytunnel, and this last thing that I'm really stoked about, because I thought this fig had it, because it had all started blackening, and I tried to cut it and stop the blackening. It didn't have any new leaves on it, but look, it started sprouting loads and loads of new leaves now, so I needn't have worried, I think. So this is how the plot's looking at the end of May. Very happy with it. It's all looking very lush. Well, it's 9:30 and I'm surprised with how light it is actually. But I'm going to head home now, and I'll see you next week, probably in a foraging video. See you later. I think I'm going to have one last skate through that blossom before I go home, because it's all going to be done soon.